Welcome everybody, my name is Christian and I'm really excited to bring some news to you from Star Wars Armada. Wave 5 has just been announced. Even though Waves 3 and 4 aren't even in stores yet, they have announced Wave 5. And for both the Imperials and Rebels, you get one ship and one new squadron update. For those that watch the Star Wars animated show Rebels, you'll definitely recognize a lot of these ships. The first ship upgrade for the Rebels is the Phoenix Home expansion pack, which includes the Plata-class command ship. It's very similar to the CR-90 in overall look, but it's more of a command ship rather than a long-distance fighter like the CR-90 is. It has an impressive 3-squadron command, as well as a variant that seems to be more of a close-range fighter that has a blue and a black anti-squadron dice, which is particularly good. There's a new commander involved, Commander Sato, also from Star Wars Rebels, that allows you to swap out 2 dice when you attack a ship at distance 1, and you can swap out 2 red dice for any color when you have a friendly squadron nearby. This is particularly interesting since there's not that many squadron-friendly commanders out there. So if you're going to have a large squadron build, he's definitely a good one to have. The only other one that we've had so far is General Dodano. Swapping out those red for blue dice would be particularly useful when you're going up against a flotilla that may be right off your port. This way you're more likely to get an accuracy to take away that scatter ability. There are several new upgrades. There's the whole fleet support thing, which unfortunately I really wish they would have also been able to put that on Home 1. Doesn't make sense that this is a command ship rather than Home 1 itself being a command ship. But I guess it's hard to do these things retroactively. I'm excited about the Rapid Launchers upgrade. It's hard to tell exactly what it is, but it's definitely good to have another offensive slot upgrade. It seems to have a pretty average defense tokens of a redirect, a brace, and an evade. So that evade would definitely mean that it could still have the turbolaser reroute circuit that many of us are so fond of with the CR-90s. In terms of the fighters, there is an interesting mix of ships from Star Wars Rebels as well as from the old expanded universe. The Z-95 Headhunter and the E-Wing were both mentioned many years ago in the expanded universe, and I'm excited to see them being brought in. The Z-95 is incredibly fragile, only a health of 3, and it's only a speed of 3, but it has Swarm. And depending on what they cost, this seems to be the Rebel equivalent of TIE fighters. The E-Wings are much more robust and have a health of 5 and a speed of 4 and are bombers. So it definitely seems like this is a souped up version of the X-Wing, which is what they were in the expanded universe. The Lancer class ship, which is part of the Shadowcaster from Star Wars Rebels, and then Ghost also from Star Wars Rebels. What's interesting about Ghost is it allows 2 friendly squadrons at distance 1 to 2 to activate as if they were rogue. That's definitely a really interesting power, and the attack of this ship is pretty decent itself. 2 blue and 2 black, as well as a brace token. It's pretty darn expensive, but having that new relay power is definitely pretty interesting. It should be noted that the base version of this ship has new strategic icon. It's hard exactly to read what it is, but I suspect due to the wording, it's going to allow you to move a officer or an admiral from one ship to another. This is something I really wanted to see in quite a while now, and I mentioned it in my Wave 3 and Beyond video for Star Wars Armada. So that'll be a great new function that will help you keep those admirals alive, if that's what it is. But I suspect that that's what it is. So the new Imperial ship is a Imperial light cruiser. It's another small base ship. Oddly enough for the Imperials, it actually has strong sides compared to its front. It has 3 red dice on its sides and a black and a red on its front. So this could actually be a good candidate for a turbolaser reroute this time on the Imperial side. It only has a squadron value of 1, and it seems to be a little bit more of a longer range version of the Raider, but it's definitely not a heavy hitter on the black dice since it only has 1 on the front and the back. The new admiral for this one is particularly odd, and I don't know how many people are going to use him. For 23 points, when a friendly ship determines its course step, it can suffer 1 damage to change the first yaw of its current speed to 2 clicks until the end of the activation. That's definitely going to allow these and all other ships to be incredibly maneuverable, but to pay 23 points to give you damage each time, I don't know how many people are going to do that, but it could make Victory Star Destroyers incredibly maneuverable, but you just need to have to do an engineering command each time to make up for it. An odd upgrade is the dual turbo laser turrets. It's a modification. While attacking, you may exhaust this card to add 1 red dice to your attack pool. If you do, remove 1 die from the attack pool. I would assume it would mean of any color. I'm not exactly sure why you would to take a dice out to add another color. The only one I can think of is if you're going against a flotilla and you want an accuracy, then you may swap out that 1 black die for another red die. It's just an odd combination. And I'm definitely interested to see how the FAQ does for it. There's also seemed to be some reinforced structure. At the start of the status phase, you may, I'm assuming, discard this card, and it looks like you can remove 3 damage. So that's definitely pretty interesting. I could see, depending on what the price of that, being a contender for ECMs being the auto-include for most players. The fighter squadron for the Imperials is definitely something that a lot of people have been hoping for, those who've read particularly the Thrawn trilogy, since they have both the TIE Defender and the TIE Phantom, as well as the Lambda shuttle, which I suggested in the Wave 3 and Beyond suggestion video, as well as the Decimator, which has been in Star Wars X-Wing. The TIE Defenders look particularly brutal with a speed of 5 and a health of 6, as well as bomber. It's definitely going to give the Imperials the heavy bomber that they've been missing out on, other than the fire spray. The Lambda has this new strategic command as well, and so I suspect that it will actually be able to move upgrades and commanders from one ship to another, particularly if it's about to explode. I'm really glad of this mechanic, and I hope that's what it ends up being. The cloak ability for the TIE Phantom, I'll have to see what the cost is, but the ability for it to move up to distance 1 even when it's engaged, it's not all that amazing, and it has a health of 4, but I would have to see how the cost compares to a TIE Interceptor or a TIE Fighter to see if I think it's worth its while. Overall, I'm really looking forward to all 4 of these packs, and it definitely took me by surprise that they announced it already. I think this is going to be a great addition to Star Wars Armada, and they've covered almost everything that I would suggest to bring in. The only thing that's left is the carrier that was introduced or reintroduced in Star Wars Rebels, the Flurry, or in the expanded universe it was called the Flurry, but it's the carrier that was in Star Wars Rebels. That's really the only ship that is really calling out to be included anymore, other than all the stuff from the new Star Wars movies, as well as if anything else is introduced in Rogue One. So, what is your favorite new mechanic or new ship or new squadron brought into this game? And what else are you hoping for in the future? So, thanks everybody, and I hope you have a great time playing Star Wars Armada.